Hello, hello.
Wait. Hold on, Keri. That was the wrong intro.
What happened?
That was the Deprogrammed intro.
Oh no. Sorry.
That's
That's
a
okay.
first.
That's a first.
I was
Should,
like, what time is it?
should we play the other one? Nah. We'll play it at the end. Welcome. I was like, what's happening? It's been so long since we've done one
I
of
know.
these.
We forgot.
You guys, we have missed you. I have missed Mystery Chris. If you're just tuning in, this is not Deprogrammed. It's on the Deprogrammed channel, but this is a live episode of Pop Culture. We haven't done one of these in over a month and a half, probably, because I was on tour with my husband, and then when I got back, we had all this renovation stuff. Anyway, we're back. Mystery Chris is in the house.
I'm here.
He's here in the virtual house, and we've all missed you. So
I missed y'all.
I'm glad you're back. Sorry for the wrong intro. That just threw me.
I was like, what is happening?
Well,
For a second.
I was having all these tech problems with this microphone and everything too. So when you said wrong intro, I was like, what? What's going on? If you are new to this channel, this is a special fun show that we do every 2 weeks. It's called Popped Culture. We do this every other Wednesday night at 8:00 Central. It's myself and my good friend, Mystery Chris. And we go down a rabbit hole of something pop culture related, and we talk about it through a cultural lens and a historical lens sometimes, and try and make sense of it. And tonight, Mystery Chris suggested that we take a look at Generation Z, Gen Z, the youngins, and we try and make sense some of their pop culture fads and trends. Some things that seem a little foreign to us, but maybe that's the case with all. Maybe our trends seemed foreign to older generations.
Well, that's the
Mhm.
thing. We spend so much time talking about pop culture we grew up with or properties based on things that existed when we were younger and we were connected with pop culture. And so as I've been growing older, I've been reflecting on comments I made when I was younger when I once said that I would never be so old to the point to where I didn't understand youth pop culture. But yet here I am at that point. And so I thought we should try to explore some of the things that appeal to the younger folks and try, like you said earlier, trying to make sense of it, try to see what they see in it. I'm trying my best not to talk shit about it, although I'm
Yeah.
sure we're going to end up doing just that. But I'm trying to be objective and try to see what's so appealing about the IRL streamers and game streamers and TikTok and all this other stuff that I just, for the life of me, just can't understand the appeal of.
Yeah, like what is going on with them? That's what we're doing. So first off, I got a couple of chats I wanted to highlight. Randy, hey Randy says, "What the heck is Gen Z?" Well, I'm glad you asked, Randy.
What gender? Yeah, I don't think they know.
What gender? Gen Z. If you haven't heard the phrase Gen Z, Generation Z, they're also called Zoomers. It's the name that has been given to the generation after the millennials, after Gen Y. And you can see here on your screen, I pulled this from Wikipedia real quick. It's people who were born between the years, roughly speaking, of 1997 and 2012. And so, yeah, they're now they've already named the generation after them,
Yeah,
Gen
Gen Alpha.
Alpha. That's
It
pretty
starts
crazy.
again.
Starts all over. Okay, then we've also got Onlivian here. Onlivian says, as a Gen Z, I'd like to offer a forward apology, but I had nothing to do with this. And also, I'll do my best to translate.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much. Okay. Well, we're going to start with, I think there's so much you could talk about with Gen Z and pop culture and the stuff that they're into and they're interested in. We all know that they are online more than any other generation previously. I mean, they grew up with devices. We didn't grow up with these. I had a rotary phone. Nobody could reach you if you weren't at home. They
Did you
couldn't
ever
get
have
a
a
hold of you.
pager?
I never had a pager. Did
Nah.
you?
No, but I knew people who did. And some of them were drug dealers, of course. Other
Mhm.
ones weren't.
That's mostly that was the stereotype where I was too. It was like, I didn't really know anyone with a pager. I just saw it in pop culture as people who are drug dealers. So, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have smartphones. I mean, it was actually it sounds I wonder if sometimes for younger people, if it sounds terrible or if it sounds I've read surveys where, Gen Z has responded to surveys, and they will say things like they could not survive if you took their phone away from them or their social media away from them. But then if you ask them in the same survey, "But what if we took social media away from everyone?" They overwhelmingly support that. Like, it's almost like, "Well, as long as it's here, I have to have it, but if you could take it away from everyone, that'd be great."
Really?
Yes, isn't that a
That's surprising. So they
yes.
realize that social media is ruining humanity as well, right?
I think a lot of them do. I mean, let's ask, in the chat, any of the Gen Z people check in? I'm gonna actually put up a poll real quick, while you set up this
Because
yeah.
like we've talked about in previous episodes, we grew up in a time where you didn't have on-demand entertainment. You had cable and broadcast TV, and so if say like when I was a kid, if I wanted to watch cartoons at night, well, there wasn't really any cartoons being shown at night, but there was Nick at Night, and Nick at Night showed old shows from the 60s, Green Acres and Gilligan's Island and Donna Reed show and other things. And so I watched that because I just wanted to be entertained or watch TV. But now kids, they have the luxury of having on-demand stuff. And so even though they can go back and look at stuff that existed prior to them being born, many of them don't, because there's just so much new stuff. And so much of the new stuff, like we're about to talk about, is online streamers of people just doing live streams, just recording themselves playing video games, or just walking around the street doing things, or
Yes.
having weird reactions, and that's entertaining even more so than stuff that we think is great from the 80s and 90s or even the 70s.
Yeah, that's the weird part. So what we're gonna show you guys tonight are a couple of, streamers. That's what we're gonna focus on because it's such a big topic. We're gonna focus on these IRL streamers, like in real life streamers, and some of them you may have heard of, like Mr. Beast. I think most people have heard of Mr. Beast. Maybe you haven't. If you have children, you've probably heard of him because he appeals to children. He markets himself to children, which is given recent revelations about some of the goings on there with his staff. Um, Pretty concerning, I think. But you may be familiar with some like Mr. Beast. There's others. I had no idea about this first one we're going to start with until thank Mystery Chris knows everything. He introduced me to this guy who is a phenomenon, millions upon millions upon millions of followers.
Yeah.
His name is iShowSpeed.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about this guy.
So YouTube recommended me his channel, iShowSpeed, a few months ago, and he was doing a tour where he was going around various European countries. And I only clicked on the video because I saw that the amount of live viewers was 300,000 people, which
What?
I had never seen for any live stream. So I was like, oh, I got to check this out. And
Like,
so
what's so good? Let's go
yeah, yeah,
see.
yeah. And so this guy, I should speed, which you can see on the screen right here, 19-year-old guy, just goes around to various countries and gets mobbed. Like there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that surround him. And let me clarify. When I say people, more teenagers and kids,
Now,
mostly
first,
male,
and
but
he's
he does have some female fans that will literally throw themselves at him.
wait, so he's 19 years old, very young
19,
guy.
multimillionaire now, of course. But yeah, 19. He goes around various countries. He actually has bodyguards, and he has somebody that films him, so he doesn't carry his own selfie cam. And he gets ushered around in a van. They rent a van, whatever country he's in. But yeah, hundreds of thousands of fans
Look at
will
this.
surround him. They're all taking photos of him, all screaming his name. Some of them even get violent, which of course those people aren't fans, but the length that so many of these young teens will go to not only just take pictures of him, but some of whom are trying to go viral themselves by doing or saying things to him that is going to be talked about. And so I've just been going down a rabbit hole, just watching all of his videos where he goes to these various countries, because it doesn't matter what country he goes to. It could be in Europe, Southeast Asia, it doesn't matter. He'll be swarmed with people, and it's like Beatlemania, except it's all wrapped up into one 19-year-old black kid. It's insane. I don't get it.
It is it is like Beatlemania. We have to you have to see it to believe it. Us telling you that is not gonna we're gonna show you some clips. I just want to highlight this. 32 million subscribers on
Mhm.
YouTube and 3.1 billion views. And so it's like, yeah, what is this? What obviously Gen Z loves him. He's doing something special. What is it? And then if you're not of Gen Z, if you're not of that generation, and you start looking into some of these so-called IRL streamers, you're like, wait, what is he doing? Like it's sort of I don't really know. They just go and stream their it's almost like creating celebrity out of I don't know, it's different. It's not like I mean we had like you just mentioned Beatlemania. So every generation has had celebrities and people that reach a certain level of fame where you will see mobs of people reacting hysterically and fainting and stuff like Elvis. You think about Elvis and the Beatles and um but they were musicians. It's easy to point to like this is what they got famous for was their music. And I think for people who are from older generations, we're looking at some of these IRL streamers and we're like, but what do they do?
Yeah,
It's a
that's
little
and
weird.
I think Speed and a little bit by Kai Cenat. I don't think we're talking much about Kai, but I think both of them, particularly with iShowSpeed, like they got prominent based on weird antics they do, like wild antics. Like Speed would have these overreactions to various things happening, whether it be online or going out to the street, and he just exaggerate, his regular reaction to whatever's going on. And that's what's the thing that the young kids love so much about him, which I don't quite get. Like occasionally, I'll be fair. Occasionally, sometimes it kind of makes you chuckle. Some things, but overall, I don't think he's like super hilarious or anything. And so, I don't get the appeal. I don't. I mean, he seems like a all okay guy. I mean, doesn't seem like a dick or anything, but he's just sometimes it can be a little over the
Like
top.
I think what it does is it highlights for society, for some parts of society anyway, what should be highlighted in a way, which is that he's just a person,
Mm.
which is true for everyone who's ever been at that level of fame, you know. At the end of the day, they're a person. I mean, I saw something the other day on Twitter, you're making me think of this. Matt Walsh had an interaction with someone on Twitter who said they were mad at him. They tweeted at him. Some random person was like, but they were like, my friend saw you in the airport at 5:30 in the morning the other day and tried to get a selfie with you and get you to record a video message for my birthday month, and you were rude and wouldn't do it. And it's like, and Matt Walsh was like, it was 5:30 in the morning at the airport. I'm like, he's just a person, like,
But
you know?
the thing with him and some of the other IRL streamers is that much like reality TV, even though some things are real, there are other things that are scripted or at least semi-scripted.
Yes.
So he had a whole arc thing where he he acted as if he picked up a girl in, I think it was South Korea. Her name was Amy, and he pretended like they didn't know each other, and he was all shy around her, and then they went on some dates and stuff. She came to visit him in America, and when she had to leave, he was acting like he wanted to tell her that he loved her, but he was too shy to say it. And then when he like tried to like get a kiss, she didn't kiss him. And so she goes on an airplane and he starts crying and then shuts off the the stream. And then later some drama comes out between her and him, where she claims that she admit that his team contacted her because they wanted to have some kind of love interest. They could do a whole story
Oh
there,
my
but she
god.
wasn't sure whether it was real. Like, what point did it start to become like real for him or not? And so she ends up getting mad at him on stream. She gets off of his stream, starts another stream where she's talking to her chat, and she starts crying. and it just goes back and forth, and the whole internet is talking about this, and it's very, I don't know if it comparing to Annie Kaufman's right, but it's kind of like that where you don't know if any of it is real, and I don't know if the people in it even know if it's real anymore because they're so used to being performative. It's like having to perform for the
Because there's
camera.
the
It's like,
camera
can
always
they
on them.
actually have legitimate real relationships with people, or is it all about how does this look to other people? Like, how
Right.
can I make this seem like whatever I want it to be to others? Is there anything
But
real?
but you're right. It's basically all celebrities, like regular what we think of as regular celebrities, but on speed because they, like you said, like you commented on, the publicists and stuff, they arrange those fake relationships and things for celebrities too, just to get them in the press. And so that's always been happening, that kind of fakery to get attention. But it's on, but it's like cranked up because
Yeah.
they always have the camera on them and they live with the camera. That's what they're famous for. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to show you. You really have to see this. If you don't know, this is iShowSpeed. And can you tell me what country is this in?
Oh, I forget which country, one of the Eastern European countries. Forget which one it was. But as you see, this mob surrounds him. And oftentimes this happens where so many people surround him that he ends up going into a building and he gets stuck there. And so I think this one, I don't think he quite had enough bodyguards. Well, not that would do much with that crowd, but he called the police. He was like, I need police to come here and escort me out. And I don't think the police came. And so he and his bodyguards tried to usher him into his van, but as you're about to see,
We'll
the
see what
crowd
happened.
went nuts.
Okay, this is Norway. I looked it up. This is when he
Gotcha.
was visiting. So, like Mr. Chris said, he goes to all these different countries and he get these crazy Beatlemania crowds everywhere. Okay, here we go.
Look at that. It's like 28 days later. And that guy right there jump kicked him. He's filming himself as he jump kicked him.
He was filming himself as he jump kicked
Yes.
the star. Okay.
Very diverse for Norway, I'll say that.
They're on top of his car.
Yeah.
Like
They
they're
beat on
jump
the car, like, when he gets in there, like, so many countries, they'll chase after him, they'll run after him, they go on bikes. It's straight up like a zombie film. I've never seen
This
anything
is
like it.
crazy. Okay, Cynthia Carter. Sorry, I ran late. What the heck is this? Kids being wacko. Okay, we're talking about Gen Z and how they have all these celebrities who are just sort of just IRL streamers. They just stream everything they do. And this kid who's 19, named iShowSpeed, and he's got billions of views and like what was it, 57 million subscribers or something, and every country he goes to he gets mobbed like he's the Beatles, and we're just observing it. That's it. I caught you up. Here we go. I mean, I don't know. I almost don't have words.
Neither do I. That's why I'm so addicted to watching these things. I'm trying to understand the psychology of all these people. Like I said earlier, it doesn't matter what country, every country, they go crazy over him. Not always as violent as that, but still, they always mob him. It's insane.
So that was when he visited Norway. This is him visiting Sweden. And you'll notice he's streaming even while he's in the car. So he's always streaming. He's got another camera on him. Like he's always streaming.
He's driving like a.
He was also picking his nose, wasn't he? Ew. Okay.
It's nothing more real than picking your nose.
Thank you. Goofy. Jesus.
Look at them. Look at them.
Look at this. Gonna definitely drop Max Hamburger and Swedish Kenny. All right, bro. Where's the Max Hamburger at? Where's it at?
They're running like a zombie movie.
Yes. They keep saying it's so good.
He's still picking his nose. Look at these people. They are running behind the car, and it looks like a scene from a zombie film.
Jesus. Go to Mollusk and definitely drop Mac.
Look at that.
I don't. And all the cars. What is going
I don't
on?
know.
Meanwhile, the guy they're chasing down is like he's a nose picker. What?
Maybe he thought that would make him stop chasing him.
Okay, Slender Dad is here. Slender Dad, hello. If you guys missed it, I got to be on a Brahma Bulls debate stream last night with Slender Dad. Go check him out, and that was a lot of fun. And Slender Dad is explaining. He says this dude gets mobbed because he goes to places and provokes people, often saying the most horrible things he can think of to the locals. Yes, but they also love him. Explain that part, because watch this one. Now, you sent me a couple of people crying when they meet him.
Yeah. This might be a female fan, I think.
No, this is the little boy.
Or is it? Oh, it's a dude.
Okay.
So many.
I love you.
I'm totally keep your shit.
I love you.
Oh, thank you. I was just.
You're the best YouTuber in the world.
Thank you, bro.
I love you so much, bro.
Now, on the right there, is that how many people are watching?
That's a subscriber count. So at the time, it was 26 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's like, I love you. You're the best YouTuber in the world. This is where I think there's a disconnect with older generations, because we're like, again, like, what does that mean, though? I mean, like, if you said to Elvis, you're the best musician in the world, or the Beatles, you're the best musician, it's like, you're the best IRL streamer.
Well, it's crazy because like he'll go to countries where other IRL streamers, like if he's like in Vietnam or Malaysia, like other ones who have like 1 million subs will bring their 1 million sub YouTube plaque and have him sign it. I'm like, what? Like, why would you have him sign your plaque? He had nothing to do with that. Like, if you want him to sign something else, okay, but why your 1 million sub plaque? That doesn't make sense.
It's just it's just entirely foreign to me. Maybe to some other people in the chat. Wait, I want to watch this part's very strange because the kid is crying and then he starts crying.
And see, I don't even know if he's really crying or not. But that's the thing. It's like Andy Kaufman, because there's been a number of times where he like cries or gets emotional, and you're not sure if it's real or not. Because clearly there are moments where he's exaggerating, but like, are there moments where he's actually having a real moment? I don't know.
I don't know. It's bizarre. Randy Wallen's making me laugh. He says the disconnect is, wait for it, we are sane. I don't know. It's just...
And I guarantee you that all the people in these crowds, not every single person knows who he is. There's going to be tons of people who just see everyone else going crazy, and then they go crazy. It's like the madness of crowds. It's the psychology of everyone just going insane because everyone else is. Just like with the Beatles we're talking about. Like, how many of those young fans who love the Beatles, like how many of them would like faint and cry and go crazy if it was just them in front of the Beatles? Some of them would, but with all of them?
But when they're in the crowd, yes.
Yeah.
Randy says it's mass formation psychosis. Yes, I agree. And I don't know if it's, I mean, like you said, I don't know if this guy's crying for real or not, but just watch this strange interaction with the two of them crying.
You're the best YouTuber in the world.
Thank you, bro.
I love you so much, bro.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. No, keep your shoe, bro. Keep your shoe. No, damn shot. No, ain't not damn.
That's such a weird thing to give somebody. Just one shoe, not even two shoes.
I don't.
People give him stuff all the time. One guy, I think it was in Romania, gave him like a giant stuffed teddy bear. I'm like, what? It's like, is this a Valentine's Day gift? Like, what is this?
Also, you know, what does this do to a 19-year-old? I mean, we know because we've seen child stars and what this does to them, and it doesn't look pretty later on for a lot, unfortunately, for a lot of people who, because it puts you in this place. I mean, think about like the celebrities from our generation who were often musicians or actors, and if they were child stars, you know, there's so many sad stories where they would get pulled into addiction or just I think at a certain point it's very hard to stay grounded if you're young and don't have a lot of experience prior to that.
Right.
Even more so.
A multimillionaire at 19.
Okay, now we're just going to show you another crying fan. This is in Sweden.
Who is voting, nigga? Oh, you? Yeah. Yo, my chat is. I ain't gonna lie, my chat is spamming you right now. She's crying. She's crying? Why are you crying? What the fuck? Do you know why you're crying?
She's in love already.
What the fuck is that?
Crush on you, I really like you.
Oh my god. Hey, remember, Obi said, calm the fuck down, Glenn.
I have, maybe you.
We're both like, what are we saying? I'm like,
Somebody was asking about Asian countries. What is this Malaysia clip? I didn't watch this one yet.
So this was at a mall. He went to a mall in Malaysia. This is from one of his long streams. Just play a little bit of a teeny bit. But he got mobbed again in this mall. And so he had to go into like some chicken restaurant and hide out there until they could like sneak him out. But I just want to show you the crowd when he comes out of this elevator, just how insane it is.
So it's in Asia too. Malaysia. Here we go. Is that it?
No, it paused. He's having connection issues.
Oh, because he's in the elevator. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Slips. It didn't stop.
And that's his bodyguard, which is never enough.
I noticed that the subscriber count doesn't pause.
No, it keeps going up and up.
How much you want to bet? Watch. About to be 100 people waiting. What I say?
Do more than that.
What I say, chat? What I say? I don't know.
It also shows you how ubiquitous cell phones are.
Yeah. And everybody's streaming.
Yes.
Their whole life.
Yeah. Everyone's trying to get viral. Like I said, it doesn't matter what country, doesn't matter what time, because he has to be going to these countries at different times of the day or night. But these mobs will still find him quickly too, because he doesn't announce where he's going most of the time. And even if he does announce, he's always the country. He never says the city and where in the city. But these people find him so quickly.
I again, just a little speechless because your mind is, people use the expression "my mind is blown" incorrect all the time. It's ubiquitous. It's not really, but I do feel like my mind's actually blown watching this because I don't really know quite how to put all the puzzle pieces together of like, what does this mean for society? It's a little strange. I mean, it's almost like you're removing, like you're taking, okay, again, let's take it back to Beatlemania. We've seen this before. That's the obvious example people go to, or Elvis, right? We've seen this before, but it's almost as if you're removing the talent or the thing that makes them very special. Now, I don't want anyone to get offended about this, like, but I'm a very talented streamer. But I'm just saying, like, some kind of musical ability or an acting ability, or even let's say you're a public speaker, a very eloquent speaker or something. It's just, I don't really know. So he became famous by playing video games and having people watch him play the games. Is he like a champion video game player? Is he the best video game player in the world?
No. He said some like offensive things, like he implied that he would R-word a woman, made a
Yeah, he
joke.
would. Oh, he
It
said,
was like a joke, like a hypothetical joke, and I think he got banned from, I don't know, it's maybe Twitch, either Twitch or YouTube, probably Twitch.
it
But
was
he's
Twitch.
been
I saw
banned a
that.
couple of times from some of the platforms, and this, of course, just brings more attention to him, and so he just got more and more popular. And then he started doing the tour thing where he'd go to other countries and film himself. And it's just, it's crazy. But, you know, like when you were mentioning all those people, like musicians and actors and speakers, like those people have provided things that have emotionally moved people. Like I can understand the emotional attachment that many people have to certain people in those categories you mentioned. But like with him, like, I don't understand where the emotional attachment is. Even if you find him entertaining, like why would you go that crazy? Why would you be brought to
Crazy.
tears? Like we've already saw
Yeah,
with a few people.
it's almost as if, so you're removing that skill or that talent, and it's just the fame itself. It's almost as if Gen Z possibly has this fascination with just fame itself, like with making someone famous and
Mhm.
then being excited by the fame by itself.
Yeah.
And you can, if you think about it that way, you can see stepping stones to get there, because you and I have covered reality TV before, which I think is an absolute stepping stone to get there. You know, like Kim Kardashian's, all that kind of stuff, where you're like, wait, what do you do? So there've been little like mainstream pop culture things that have paved the way for this, but this is just wild. Here, just a rundown. According to Wikipedia, this is the trajectory. It said he started his YouTube channel in 2016. So he was a child then. How old would he have been then? Um, he was 11. He was 11 then. He started his YouTube account in 2016, uploading gameplay videos occasionally. Around 2017, he began live streaming and uploading videos of games like Fortnite occasionally, only managed to average 2 viewers. Initial popularity happened here. He became prominent in 2021 after his fan base began posting. So that was, he would have been 16. After his fan base began posting clips on TikTok of his often violent behavior during live streams towards games, players, and his camera. So it was his often violent behavior that gained in the popularity, which gained popularity and then became memes. His outbursts have resulted in bans from streaming platform Twitch and the video game Valorant. He's been described as one of the biggest and fastest rising streamers on YouTube. So it was for often violent behavior during playing a where you watch along while someone plays a video game, which I'll just say this. I don't get that anyway.
I don't either.
And I've watched a couple. I've had friends who do a couple, and I played a game last month on Chrissy. It wasn't like that kind of a game. It was like a trivia game. I played a game with Chrissy, and that was fun. But at the same time, I don't know if I really understand the ones where you're watching somebody else's gameplay, unless they're the best gamer. You know, if you Super Mario Brothers or whatever, and you can imagine they do it in a record time, and I'm aging myself by even saying.
Or if they provide entertaining commentary. So like I don't really watch gaming streams, but someone like say Razor Fist, he does a gaming stream every week, but he's taking answers or questions from his chat, and people are just asking him various things about pop culture and politics, and he's answering them while he's playing the game. So I find that entertaining. But
Oh, you're
for the
right.
people who don't offer any kind of commentary and are just like playing it without saying much of anything, then I was like, I find that incredibly boring.
You're right. Okay. I guess I do, now that I think of it, I do kind of get it, because I've done the Mario Kart streams on Geeks and Gamers. It's been a while, but those are fun because you get lots of different personalities on there playing together, and it's kind of fun. I've watched a few that I wasn't on too, and then it's just fun to hear people smack talking and stuff. But But overall, it's not it's not really the thing I go to. I don't really understand it.
But it's interesting noting that most of these big streamers started off as gaming streamers. Like we'll talk about Mr. Beast in a little bit, but he started off playing games, and so many others did too. And as I was reading up on some of them, it seemed like a lot of them really started to get fame around 2017, somewhere between 2017 and 2021. That seems to be the magic years for all these streamers getting really, really huge, which not sure why then, because Twitch has been around since I think 2010, and YouTube's been around from 2005. Of course, you can always live stream on YouTube, but I'm not sure what around that time changed, which skyrocketed the popularity of some of these YouTubers.
Yeah, the gaming streams. It's so interesting. Mario, thank you for the super chat for $10. Says a funny note on anime and Gen Z is this. TL too long didn't read. Is this each of the last 3 decades the had some kind of collapse in each of those decades. Thus, it never reached a natural peak. And when COVID hit, the floodgates got unleashed. Each of the last 3 decades has some kind of collapse in each of those 3 decades. Oh, well, you're talking about all the different things that Gen Z's been through. Yes, I mean it's not just that they grew up with devices, so they're used to being online more than, although we've clearly adapted, but they've grown up being online. They've never known a before time. And then during COVID, as you're pointing out, thank you for pointing that out, a lot of them were not able to go to school, and even their classes were online or remote. And I've seen stats about how they became more isolated, and it's weird because in real life, they're not. Now some conservatives might be excited by this stat, but they're not having premarital sex at the same rate as Gen X was, for example. Now you might be tempted to say immediately that's a good thing, but there's also the fact that they don't have relationships in general. That's the reason why, like, they don't have in real life. It's funny because there's all these in real life streamers, IRL streamers, that they're making into celebrities, but their in real life is not as existent as ours was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's when you're living in an environment where you're constantly putting forward a fake view of yourself. I mean, it's I think a lot of them frown on sincerity and being them true selves, unless that can give them victim points. But oftentimes, then in that case, it's still exaggerated. But it's just a very fake environment in which they're growing up in, and I just wonder how is that going to affect their continued maturation and them forming relationships, romantic bonds. And I guess it's not much for some, of course, but it's hard to imagine what it's like growing up in this type of environment. It's so foreign to what we grew up in.
It's so different. Yeah. Alan Scott, great point, says, I find it odd they don't hang out in malls anymore. They just hang out online. Yeah. I was in a mall recently. I think it was, I'm trying to remember where it was during our trip, maybe. And if you've been to a mall recently, that some of them still exist, but they are just ghost towns. It's really eerie. It feels like you're in a zombie movie because it's just, you might see 1 or 2 other people in the entire mall. Like, what is going on?
do you ever watch the Dead Mall series or various videos of people exploring like malls that are dying or have closed already? Oh, that's a rabbit hole you're gonna go down.
Wait, that's the kind of thing we should do a show on, because that sounds actually very interesting to me.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, especially
Dead
watching
Mall
ones near
series.
where I've lived.
It's sort of like when
one in
we looked at
Houston. Yeah.
on the Olympics episode, when we looked at all those photos and videos of the abandoned Olympic stadiums, and there's something about that deserted, desolate kind of human architecture that is fascinating. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
It's like an artifact from the past.
Yes, an artifact. Okay, should I play more of it? Should we play some of the stuff he does, like the barking and stuff?
Yeah, he's got like little catchphrases and stuff or gestures, and people will do these back to him. And so one of them is that he barks like a dog. Yeah.
I mean, again, like I said, what does he do?
I don't know.
He barks like a dog. And so there's tons of these videos with him barking at fans and then barking back. And
Yeah.
this is in Denmark. Again, he's all over the world doing and this goes on for a while. I'm just going to stop. I mean, that goes on for a while. Everyone's recording it like it's the most interesting thing.
Yeah, people, they'll come up to him and like they'll put their head up to his head and just bark at him, and he'll bark back. And it's so bizarre. A lot of things he does, they do back. So like he says the N-word a lot, and so there'll be people in other countries that say the N-word at him. It's just like, what?
Let's do it differently. Let's do it differently.
Good. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
What?
Your whole world is out of order now.
Okay, somebody in the chat said Idiocracy. And yes, who said that? That's exactly, I'm thinking of that movie. Yes, thank you, Adam Worrell. Thank you.
I like money.
Yes. You know, I don't want to be too alarmist. I don't want to sound too much like, you know, the old man yelling at clouds. And I know every generation feels a little bit of distance from younger generations and don't really understand all the trends. But I don't think I'm being alarmist. I think I'm noticing the truth, which is that, I mean, this is part of the decay of society. It sounds all like, old person, you know, but there's societal decay. This is what I'm not saying that any kind of celebrity worship is great. Like even the worship of, you know, the Beatles, for example, or Elvis, who we mentioned. It's just, it's gotten to a point where this is what young people worship now. It's like some random guy who got famous for playing video games online and being violent while he did so, and then going out and barking at people. And
I don't know what to say.
Okay. Okay, where's our Gen Z people? Can you explain? Which, by the way, here's the results of the poll. What can you see it? Because if not, I want you to predict.
No, I can't see it.
Most of our audience tonight, which generation do you think they are? Z, Y, X, or Boomer?
Oh, it's G, Y, X, and Boomer. I'm gonna say most are probably millennials. That's why, right?
No, 58% Gen X.
Okay.
And 19% Gen Y. And then we have about 12% Boomers and 12% Gen Z. So Gen Z, you know, does this make more sense to you? We're not going to make fun of you. I really want to know, or do you feel also alienated from your generation by this? Can you explain it?
Putting them on trial.
I'm putting you on trial.
Explain your generation.
Kevin says, I really don't remember us being this vacuous and stupid back in the 80s. Yeah, I think it's by degrees, right? So we were stupid and vacuous, but I mean, nothing compared to today, maybe. Okay. Should I share more of him, or are we moving on?
Let's see if there's anything else. I think that's mainly it. I mean, if you want, but I think we covered most of it.
How about one last quick barking one? Because again, this is apparently something he does all the time, and this is part of his appeal. This is him in Switzerland, barking at an old lady.
Oh, it's some water. Yo, can I jump in the water?
Ja, Bahnhof.
Huh?
Habe ich nicht verstanden.
Hop in the Stefan.
Kilo.
I can jump in the water.
Your face, you're like trying to process something. Like, what?
Honestly, it makes me feel a little nauseated. It does. It just makes me feel a little nauseated.
Don't throw up on there.
Like what is just we took. I mean, we know this. We talk about even on not on pop culture, but on my regular, the deprogrammed episodes. It's all about how. I mean, I believe, and I think you believe that culture is declining. But to see it in this way, in this pop culture way, it's just, I don't know. It's a little startling to think this is what people want to see. It is like Idiocracy. This is what people want to, I don't know, think about. What are you thinking about when you watch this? Are you laughing? I guess you're just laughing.
I'm just amazed. Like I said, it doesn't matter what country. Like this is showing that this pop culture, Gen Z pop culture, is global, and this is the effect of everything being tied together with the internet. How there's starting to form a kind of monoculture almost globally, when so many young people have access to the internet and are able to find people like iShowSpeed, and they all go crazy over the same stuff. It's, I don't know. Part of me makes me sad because, like, we've talked about other things like with architecture and just how much everything is starting to become homogenized. I always like cultures being more unique and not resembling one another as much, because there's so much interesting things that get produced from those countries. But now everything's just being tied together, and it's just becoming more bland and dumbed down. I'm like, ugh. And it all started with America. I guess it's all our fault.
I don't know if it's our fault or not, but as a believer, I think it's the devil's fault. I think people just, it makes me think of those verses in the Bible about how God gave them over to their wickedness and their, I mean, in this case, you could say trivial pursuits, and they're just sort of, okay, if that's what you're going to do, I'm just going to give you over to that as a culture. I mean, as a people.
If I know we weren't planning to talk about Kai Cenat, can we try to fit him in just a little bit?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if have you followed him at all? No.
So he hangs out with, now his name is Kai Cenat, and he hangs out with iShowSpeed, right?
Yeah, he's another Twitch streamer. And yeah, if you want to play that Inside Edition report. So he, I think maybe a couple years ago, did a giveaway in one of the parks in New York. And he just thought a few hundred people are going to show up. He's going to give away some P5s. But thousands of people showed up, and he didn't have enough stuff for people. People started going crazy, started tearing up the park and throwing trash cans and jumping on cars. The police were called, and they shut it down, and he got charged for inciting a riot. I believe that was charged. But I just want to, yeah, this was big.
Hey, let me just show this first to define who it is we're talking about. This is Kai Cenat. He's also an IRL streamer, mega famous. He's 22 years old, and he has 13 million followers on Twitch, 6.4 million on YouTube. And he hangs out with the guy we just watched, iShowSpeed.
And also to mention, both of iShowSpeed and Kai Cenat, they've had celebrities they've been on stream with. Like Kai Cenat's had Nicki Minaj on his stream. Kai's had some other people. I know he went to some convention and they brought him on stage with Lil Wayne and Tom Brady, which is an odd mix. But yeah, he's had famous people. So famous people are aware of these people. Famous people want to do streams with these people.
You mean
celebrities, actually? Yeah. Or musicians, sports, those type of celebrities.
Entertainers, I guess.
Entertainers, that's good.
What we used to think of as old school entertainer. We have to come up with a whole new language.
People actually do things, yes.
Okay, so this is the news report. about the giveaway that Kai Cenat was doing and how many people showed up. It looks like another zombie apocalypse. Let's see.
He's got 20 million followers on social media. And after an ill-conceived stunt in New York's Union Square, he also has an arrest record. In the aftermath of a riot in advance of a video game giveaway, this influencer is saying he's sorry.
An apology today over that shocking riot that unfolded in New York City. A violent mob took over Union Square after a wildly popular social media influencer, Kai Cenat, urged his fans to show up for a giveaway. We are deeply disheartened by the outbreak of disorderly conduct that affected innocent people and businesses and do not condone that behavior.
He doesn't look very disheartened in that picture. They picked a funny picture.
Said a state.
He's won Streamer of the Year a couple times. Like, they have streaming awards, and he's won a number.
Streamer of the Year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They have streamer awards.
They have awards for everything. I mean, there's award for porn, so there's award for everything you think of.
We should go.
Hey, I already know what I'm gonna wear.
We should go. I saw this earlier. I tagged it because I thought it was funny. Alan Scott, Keri's the best streamer ever. LOL. Why'd you put that LOL in there?
We need a golden hat. We can award to you, Keri. Only you can get it.
Apologize to all of those impacted. We are fully cooperating with local authorities. The 21-year-old was detained and later released. He's been charged with inciting a riot and unlawful assembly.
I feel so good to be here like that.
You may not have heard of Kai Cenat before, but he has 20 million followers. Last Friday, he announced that he would be giving away PlayStation 5s and gift cards.
And we got like a lot of these. We just gonna be handing this out.
In this live stream, he shows off the gift cards just before getting out of the vehicle to a crowd that swarms him.
Somebody figured out where his SUV is, and that's why we see the people now swarming that SUV.
Authorities say
they had news helicopters there.
Yeah.
Authorities say he did not have a permit. There were confrontations with police, even firecrackers going off. More than 65 people were arrested, many of them juveniles. New York City Mayor Eric Adams says that parents must keep a watchful eye on their children. He said it raised an alarm for him.
The first thing I did was text my son and say, "Where are you? Are you in Union Square?"
Last year, Cenat won the streaming equivalent of an Oscar on CBS.
Did you say that he's guzzling money?
Embezzling money.
Embezzling money.
Yes, mornings, this warning about the influence of streaming stars like Cenat.
His influence over the youth, good or bad, it's something that we have to be concerned with, because this is the new generation of how our kids consume their content,
how they communicate,
and entertainment.
Your mind keeps getting, you're just like, no more words.
I don't know.
What can you say to that?
I don't know about the kids.
And again, it's like all dudes practically.
It's a lot of
like,
men.
Aren't they out trying to get laid? That's what kids supposed to be doing.
It's also a lot of black people there. But I will say, what?
No.
What? You're not going to go there?
What? Don't tempt me, Keri.
I'm not going to, but it's not just, obviously. We just watched clips from all over Europe and Asia. It's white people, it's Asian people, it's all young people. But you're right, it is a lot of men. More than I would. That makes it a little different, doesn't it? From the Beatlemania and Elvis Mania and stuff. Just the fact that there's so many men in the crowd.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. I don't know what's up with
that. What do you think is happening with that? They're looking for a hero?
Yeah, I mean, they're looking for, I think like a lot of people looking for a community, and I've seen some of Kai Cenat streams. He's had, I think one of his Twitch streams I saw had 100,000 people watching, and all these people commenting, going crazy and stuff. And so I think people are just looking to be a part of something. Like they just want to. I don't know if it's has to do with the decline of meaning that so many people are feeling, and they're just gravitating to these superficial, vapid, pieces of entertainment and entertainers. Yes. I don't know.
I think that's a lot to do with it. Like you said, meaning, belonging, all of that, feeling like the part of something. I mean, we live in a very nihilistic culture now. It's become very meaningless, and it's consumeristic, and it's all these things at once. And like we talked about, I mean, you have all these different factors playing. Like, a lot of these young people, they grew up with devices. They also, because of COVID policy, were not interacting in real life, funny enough, for a couple years. And we're in a culture that doesn't, we're very, we point people away from a belief in God almost from the time they're kids. I think our modern culture does, unless you happen to be born into a home of believers, which is increasingly rare. And so people are looking for just something like a path. And they look at these guys and they're so famous, and I guess they think, I want to be around that, and I want to be a part of that. And yeah,
it's like a shortcut to getting famous, just by streaming and showing yourself playing video games. That's supposed to be the appeal of in real life streaming. It's just supposed to be broadcasting just people doing mundane things, and in some cases it works.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to another one now this is one that you may have heard of, Mr. Beast. I did hear of him. I've been following the news and everything. Now I heard of Mr. Beast a few years ago because of friends of mine who have young kids, and their kids were watching him. And I had a friend ask me, do you think Mr. Beast's videos are okay for my kids? And that's when I went and looked at what he was doing. And I didn't know about, before then, I didn't know about this phenomenon of YouTubers. I mean, there's so many rabbit holes on YouTube I've been down since then, but this was when I learned about the ones who do sort of kids programming. It's kind of Nickelodeon in feel. They do things like, and there's a lot of them. He's just the most famous one, but they do things like, in this video, it's quick cuts, quick edits. And in this video, we're going to fill up a room with slime in my house. Why? Because I can. And then we're going to film me moving through the slime, and that's it. But it's fun. And when I started watching his videos a couple years ago to give my friend advice, it worked on me. And I'm Gen X. I just kept clicking on one after the other. I just kept watching more. I watched more. I think it's almost like playing the slots. The way that the sounds and the graphics and everything works together, and the length of the videos is pretty short. You're kind of, your attention span, you're plugged into it, and you're like, give me another one. Let me see another one. Did you have that experience watching his videos?
I didn't hear about him until the allegation stuff came up about him being supposedly being a bad boss, being emotionally abusive to his workers and stuff. But I'd never heard of him, and so I was just surprised to see that he is the #1 highest subbed YouTube channel.
He is the #1 channel. And he started off, like you said, he's done videos explaining how, he was trying to become a famous YouTuber, and he was young. He was in high school, I think, at the time. And he was trying to do different sorts of things to see how he could become famous. Now he is the most famous YouTuber. I'm going to show you the video that broke it for him. He's 26 years old, and he has, my goodness, he has so many channels. So like his main channel has 318 million subscribers, but he's also got Mr. Beast 2 with 44 million, Beast Philanthropy, Mr. Beast Gaming, Beast Reacts. These are all in the, multiple millions of followers, 58 billion views on the main channel, billion with a B, and many billion views on his other spinoff channels as well, Gaming, Reacts. I mean, he's just crazy. The popularity is crazy. I mean, 60 million on Instagram. Okay, so have you watched the video of him explaining how he was trying to get famous?
No, I've never watched it.
Okay.
In fact, I don't know if I watched any of his videos. Well, when I was researching stuff, I did watch briefly of his very first video. He recorded when he was like, I don't know, 13 or something. It was like the most boring thing. He's just playing video games, like, hey, I'm playing. Look at this guy here. Oh, and that's all it was. So it's just
Well,
amazing how his YouTube channel changed. Like he was a
yes,
kid, like we talked about when he
he was a
started
kid.
on YouTube. He was inspired by PewDiePie. Like he actually, campaigned for PewDiePie when PewDiePie was becoming the #1 YouTube channel, which I think now he's dropped down to 8. I don't even know kids watch PewDiePie anymore. Maybe he got too old for them. Because you got to think about that too. Like, is there a certain age where these YouTubers get where younger people just like,
Stop. I don't
yeah.
know. Well, Mr. Beast tried lots of things. You can go and research this yourself if you're interested about this phenomenon. He was trying sketch videos. He was trying tricks, prank videos, all kinds of things. And then this is the video that made him famous. This is what he got famous for. So this is a video where he counted to 100,000 on camera. That's again when we're like, what do they do? It's like Elvis was a great musician. Mr. Beast counted to 100,000. And the original video, he says here at the beginning, was 40 hours long. But Adobe capped it at 24 hours. So some parts he speeds it up so you can see that this is here on YouTube, it's a 23-hour video of him counting.
Skip for the music.
You said I should mute it? Yeah.
Yeah, don't play the music and just pause it every.
So this is him when he was young, when the video that made him famous.
I have to count to 100,000. You don't believe me? Just watch this video. All I want to say is just tweet the video out, share it with, maybe Keem or Scarce. And if you're a YouTuber, just help a guy out. I mean, think of the pain I'm about to go. Screw it. Let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So it's 40 hours of him counting until he reaches 100,000. Let me just skip ahead. Spoilers. Go ahead.
I have kind of like mixed feelings about videos like that because on one hand, yeah, it's kind of silly, but on the other hand, it's not vulgar. And it could be like, it could be so much worse. Like if I had a kid, I'd be like, okay, it's not the most entertaining thing to me, but I don't think it's going to be detrimental to my kid from watching that.
True. But I just kind of am like, again, I don't know. Here we go.
46,854, 46,855, 46,856, 46,857, 46,858, 46,859, 46,860, 46,861, 46,862, 46,863, 46,000.
And there's this part here about his friend Chris, who comes in the room. I don't know if I don't have that queued up, but his friend Chris, who we're going to bring up in a second, and we're not going to go. It's a whole nother side story, but Chris is the one that's in the news a lot lately. Anyway.
67,495, 67,496, 67,497, 67,498, 67,498, 85,388, 85,389, 85,390, 85,391, 85,392, 85,393, 85,396, 88. What if
No
ad? So
how many people do you think watched all of that?
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Probably a lot.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
How many views does that have?
I think it has 70 million.
Wow.
Wait, let me see. 30 million views. 30 million views, sorry.
Still ridiculous.
It's been up for 7 years, and that was the one that got him the initial popularity. And ADL 1992, excellent thought-provoking comment, says, actually, Mr. Chris, he says, I feel like stupidity is worse than vulgarity. I don't know.
Be a well-meaning, nice, stupid person, but smart, vulgar person.
Wow. Helena, why does that make me nauseated? I know, same thing, because that's where we are. Because Idiocracy, the movie we're talking about, the comedy movie, it seems like that's exactly where we're at right now. And that's where we are. So Mr. Beast, he went from that initial popularity with the counting to the 100,000, and then he over time started doing videos where some of the first things he did is he would do a video filming himself going up to a homeless person and giving the homeless person gift cards or giving the homeless person money. So he was like giving stuff away, and people were watching him give stuff away. Or he would do other giveaways to random people, and that people like seeing. It turns out they like seeing other people receive things and being surprised by generosity, right? So he started to get some sponsors who were giving him gift cards and stuff to give to his subscribers, and so there were a lot of those giving away. He still does those sometimes. Like, so what he'll do is he'll play games with people, which it's cool, but it's also weird because there'll be games where he goes into a store and he'll encounter a person and he'll say, here's a credit card. And then he'll tell the camera beforehand secretly, he's like, I'm going to tell them that they can spend they can use my card to buy whatever they want. But if they go over the limit, then they won't get anything. And they don't know what the limit is, so they have to guess. And then he's like, but I'm telling you that there's no limit or whatever. And so I've seen a few of these where he'll go into a toy store or something, he'll find someone and he'll give them the card and tell them, buy whatever you want on my card, but if you go over the credit limit, if you go over my limit, there's a limit on it, then you don't get anything. And so the person's like, oh my goodness, and they're trying to buy, and they're like, I don't know, maybe that's too much. And he's like laughing the whole time because they don't know. So it's cool because they are getting all this stuff. I'm not saying it's not cool, that it's not fun to watch somebody be surprised with gifts, but it's also, there's a little bit of that sort of it feels like elites watching from their bubble down at the little people, like, ha ha ha, they don't know that there's no limit. You know what I mean? Like you're like toying with people in a way, right?
Lab rats.
Right. So there are a lot of those, and then he started doing all of these stunt ones, and because as his channel grew and he became the biggest YouTube channel, he started, he's making millions upon millions and millions and millions of dollars, this young guy. And so he does things like he will buy an island, and he will buy trains, and he will buy bulldozers, and he'll buy houses just to blow the house up in the video. It's like, we're going to blow this house up. Do you know what I mean? Like really crazy stunts, and kids love this stuff. So this is sort of what he's known for now. This video, I think, is from a year ago. Just to give you an idea and why, so you get an idea of why it appeals to kids.
I just bought this train, and it is currently barreling full speed towards that giant pit over there. We're also crashing countless cars, blowing up thousands of sticks of real dynamite, and even putting 10 jet engines on a car, just to show you the most insane experiments of all time. Starting with filling a house with over 100,000 fireworks. Please do not try this in your house. For this experiment, each of the boys will hide a dummy in my new house to see if it's even possible to survive.
Water and fire don't mix. My mannequin is going to survive.
Mine's in the fridge. Go in, come on. Let's blow this house up. Hey, be careful. If you accidentally press 1, the house explodes.
Oh my goodness.
Please. Where's your mannequin?
Bathtub, fridge, under the washer.
Tree? Front porch.
It's sitting right there.
I don't mind some of these things, because like some of the other people I listed, like they do like stunts and experiments like this. Like I don't mind some of these things. Some of them are kind of interesting, like what if kind of deal. And so I'm not gonna like poo-poo on this.
This is why I told you it worked on me. I watched a ton of these. And look in the chat, everyone agrees. Alan's like, oh yeah, okay, I would watch that. And Kevin Anderson's like, okay, yeah, that looks like fun. You're curious. You're like, oh my gosh, I've never seen a stunt of this magnitude. Is he really going to do this? Yes. Mike V says this is why Mythbusters went on for so long. Yes. This is reality TV on roids, says D-Sub.
Yeah, and a lot of it's short. Like this video is only 10 minutes, and so perfect for the attention span of younger people.
Perfect. It's a short video. Look, I know you guys want to know now because I know you want to know what happens because I watched this. So I'm just going to fast forward you and see what happens.
I did forget to mention earlier that some of the allegations has been that he's faked some of the stuff he's done, which I'm not surprised at all. Obviously, I mean, this is YouTube / reality, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, tons of stuff is going to be faked.
Right.
What happened to the house? I can't even see it anymore.
Oh my God.
I don't think our mannequins are gonna make it. The house burned down all night until there was literally nothing left, including all the mannequins. Next experiment. We're about to play tug of war between this real military tank and these two school buses. And the
Pause every once in a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because we'll get a strike probably. Okay, so people get why I say this is sort of makes me think of Nickelodeon a little bit, don't you think?
A little bit. You can think of like Double Dare.
Double Dare. I'm thinking of Double Dare because he does stuff like that too. Look, I'm going to fill
Guts,
this
yeah.
chocolate with chocolate sauce and stuff. Like, it's just Alan Scott has a great comment. Mythbusters though had a scientific side to it. A little more of a scientific side, yes.
Can you real quick? You don't have to show this video, but can you pull up one of the Mark Rober videos? So he's one of the ones, like you're talking about Mr. Beast got you. Mark Rober is one of the guys who's got me because he did things that I've always wanted to do. So he did one where he made an entire pool out of Jell-O.
You've always wanted to do that?
Yes. I always said if I became a millionaire, I would have a pool full of Jell-O.
Why?
Why not? It'd be awesome. I want to see what happens. Like if I jump in and sink to the bottom, do I have to eat my way back up to the surface?
Wouldn't you suffocate?
Maybe, but it's worth the risk.
Okay. Let's watch this guy. So would you say he's in the same genre of YouTuber?
But
Okay.
I think he's got even more skills because he's done other things. Like one of the other videos, which you don't have to pull up, he built a giant super soaker. It's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet long. It's huge. Yeah, you don't have to watch this video, but I just wanted to show you.
His first ever
It's actually kind of
cool
cool idea, isn't it?
And while it may look simple, it's actually a very difficult engineering challenge to pull off. As proof, if you Google Jell-O pool, you will either find bad CGI or a handful of videos of people who tried to do this, but it really didn't work out. So today, we're going to answer possibly the longest standing question from my childhood. What would it be like to actually belly flop in a pool of Jell-O? But before we do that, I want to talk about what we actually had to go through for the past 6 months to pull this off. The idea of a Jell-O pool has been on my bucket.
Okay, yeah. See, I could also see myself getting sucked into this.
Yeah. He's got a ton of videos like that. There's one where he made a squirrel obstacle course. It was hilarious. There's some neat things. So,
I know.
I want to dog on Gen Z for everything. There's some neat things.
There are some neat things. It is interesting. I get it. I get this more than the iShowSpeed guy.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
The other one. What was his name?
Kai Cenat.
Okay. I do have to just put a little bit of, since you mentioned it, the squirrel obstacle course up because
this will remind you of the beginning of Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Bird feeder, and everything to my left is my attempt at making it squirrel proof. If they want the bird seed, they will first need to pass through what is basically a Ninja Warrior obstacle course for squirrels. This course is extremely challenging. It is not for the timid of heart. But out of the gate, I will admit in hindsight that I completely underestimated my adversary. Now, if you're wondering why I would go through all this trouble, we need to go back 8 weeks ago when I found myself stuck at home and very bored. So I installed a bird feeder and decided to become a bird watcher. And it was just so lovely. Until they showed up. Now luckily my bird feeder had a wire cage around it, big enough for the birds to slip inside, complete with special fragrances. AKA the final countdown. AKA it's not a catapult, it's a squirrelapult.
Oh no!
Which means they now have to go back and start all the way over from the beginning. Now, if they want to avoid that
Take
fate,
that,
they
squirrel.
just need to stand on this pad for less than 3 seconds. But once again, I've placed a diversion here. This one projects an optical illusion of anything you place in the bottom of this dish. It's actually super trippy and looks even
See,
more
this guy has
impressive in real life
skills.
because the
Yes.
projected image is 3D. They're like $9 on
Look at
Amazon,
that, that's
and I
crazy.
put a link that explains the juicy physics of how they work in the video description. Now, with regards to squirrel safety, I know I seem to have this reputation of improvised high-speed projectiles.
is
And
fun.
so this one
Oh,
might
yeah.
worry a few animal lovers out there.
Yeah, you know,
Don't get a strike. Somebody
Yeah.
says you're right. Thank you,
Don't
thank
play
you. Because you get to that point where you're like, I want to see what happens. The catapult is hilarious. Yeah, Davina, who doesn't want that? This one I understand a little bit more. Can you hear that audio interference, or is that just me?
I can't hear it.
Okay, good. Wait, I hear it. Does the audience hear it? Can you mute your microphone for a second? I think it's coming from your microphone. Yeah, they can hear it. Put it back on.
It's on now. Can you hear it again?
It's better. Yes.
That's weird.
Okay, now they don't hear it. Okay, good. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Technology.
So here's the quick thing, and we're not going to go down this side path, but Mr. Beast's best friends, you can see he has these guys who are in all of his videos. That's not the guy we just watched. It's the one before. Mr. Beast, the #1 YouTuber in the world. He also does, I should say, to his credit, he does some really great videos too, now that he's gotten so famous, where he does not just these things where he gives people credit cards, you know, buy what you want, or he'll go and like give somebody a car. He'll do random things where he gives people gifts, and people like watching that, of course. But he's also done things where he's gone in to developing countries and given everybody hearing aids, like helped them or gave them surgery so they can hear. Like he's cured people of hearing impairment. He's cured people of blindness. Like he does these video, and it's interesting for the viewer. They want to see it. And it's also, he's doing something positive. And he's got a lot of criticism, even for some of those, which I think that's unwarranted. It's like, do you know how many of these, do you think what's his name? iShowSpeed.
iShowSpeed.
Do you think he's spending any of his millions and millions on something like that? I mean, at
I
least
don't know that money. There's been videos where he's given away like hundreds of dollars to like homeless people, stuff similar to Mr. Beast.
Oh, he has?
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So he's done these videos where he's like helping people on large scale. Yes, he built wells in Africa, etc. But one of the big controversies he's embroiled in started because, you know, he's been doing these videos for 7 years now, and he has these friends who they appear in all the videos with him. He calls them the guys, you know, whatever. They were in that video, and he mentioned one of them, Chris. Chris has been with him from the beginning. So his friend Chris, slowly in the videos, people started to notice that Chris, who was married with a toddler, started to become more feminine, started painting his nails, grew his hair out. And eventually Chris decided that he's a woman, and he left his wife and kid. You can see him there on the left. This was him before he decided he was a woman. And he left his wife and toddler to become this empowered trans woman that you see.
You think
on the
that's one of
right.
her dresses?
One of whose dress? Oh, his wife's?
Right.
No, I don't think she would dress that way. I mean, no, look at her. Classy. He wears a lot of fetish kind of outfits. He left his family, abandoned them, and Mr. Beast kept him on as he continued down this path. And other things were coming out. In fact, I remember a year or so ago, people were sending stuff. There was stuff going around about a lot of his concerning posts, because for years he had been interacting with fans on these Mr. Beast forums and places, and talking about the kind of porn he liked to watch and this anime stuff, and lolly, which is porn of young underage girls in cartoon form, though, right? So I guess it's okay. And just some very concerning posts. And so Mr. Beast ignored all of it, and I think the criticism was justified that he should not have ignored it. And Chris continued down this path. And then recently, all these allegations broke of him messaging with young underage kids who are fans of Mr. Beast, arranging to meet up with some of them, just very inappropriate stuff, as well as allegations. All this is allegations, and they've shown messages. And so, there's evidence of these allegations. Doesn't mean that it's been proven in a court of law, but there's evidence. He's also been accused of coercing a sexual relationship with young, also trans women, so young male viewers who became his live-in assistant and stuff like that. And so all these Mr. Beast employees have now come forward and started saying the working environment was unsafe, not just the sexual inappropriateness, but that the working environment was unsafe. And that, as you mentioned, he was an abusive boss and all these things. And so there's a lot of potential litigation happening. And he has parted ways, at least publicly, I think, with Chris, finally, for now. I haven't looked to see what's going on with all that recently. So if there's updates that you know about in the chat that I don't, that's why you would know, because I haven't been following it closely. And again, this is a whole nother sidetrack, so I'm not going to go down it, although I would love to cover it at some point, because I think the criticisms that Mr. Beast ignored a few years ago, when fans were rightly saying to him, people who watched his show religiously were saying, why are you having this trans woman on your show, introducing young kids to this? And he just ignored all of that. And so anyway, that's a subject for another day. But if you're wondering what I told my friend who came to me and said, do you think this is appropriate for my kids? I said, no. With his friend Chris. So should we cover more of his or just move on?
I think we can move on.
You don't want to see World's Most Dangerous Trap? I'm just kidding. Oh, that wasn't a pun.
Yeah.
That wasn't a pun. I was just the video I was looking at. Oh my gosh. Accidental pun. Oh my gosh. Accidental pun. Okay, we're moving on. So Hasan Piker, do you know a lot about this guy?
I know he's very annoying. He's the nephew of Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks. He's a big Twitch streamer. He talks about politics, of course, and he has a lot of idiotic takes because he's a firm socialist, Marxist. But he also covers the game stuff, and so he's very popular. Why? I don't know, but he is. So I was like, I guess we got to include him.
Well, I just pulled up this article about him. This is from 2021. So he's been popular for a few years. I kept hearing his name. Now, I was somewhat familiar with him because I've heard his name, and I think it had to do with the fact that he's related to, as you said, Cenk. How do you say it? Cenk Uygur?
I don't know. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, from the Young Turks. This is from the Business Insider. Leftist political commentator Hasan Piker faces criticism for buying a nearly $3 million home in LA County because he's a socialist, right? And so Twitch streamer Hasan Piker recently purchased a nearly $3 million Los Angeles home. Some are criticizing the self-described leftist for purchasing the expensive property. Piker has shrugged off the criticism, tweeting that everyone needs to calm down. They're like, wait a minute, are you one of the wealthy elite? Hasan Piker, one of Twitch's leading political commentators, is facing a wave of criticism after purchasing a home in West Hollywood, as followers accuse the self-described leftist of being hypocritical. The 3,800. What? He's a hypocrite? No, say it ain't so.
Like all the people pushing climate change, they all have private jets, and wow, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird. So, like the BLM founders, remember when they bought all those different mansions?
Yep.
So the 3,800 square foot home with 5 bedrooms and 5.5 bathrooms located in the Beverly Grove neighborhood cost $2.74 million, according to the Real Estate News website. Now, I'm just going to say, being someone who lived in LA, in Los Angeles, the way prices are right now, and in Beverly Grove, it was almost $3 million. That means it was probably not that great of a house.
Poor people.
That's why he's like, do you understand what prices? I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. That's, it's still a nice house. Piker's Twitch. I'm just saying prices there are very crazy. Piker's Twitch channel, which is called Hasan Piker, has accumulated over 1.5 million followers since he started streaming in 2018. He's made a name for himself as one of Twitch's most popular pundits. And in 2020, streamed Among Us with New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Piker has promoted socialist views and publicly supported Bernie Sanders, who's called himself a democratic socialist. Piker answered affirmatively when asked whether he was trying to, quote, create the persona of a hyper-masculine socialist in his
Oxymoron.
A hyper-masculine socialist? What is that?
So there's a view that socialists are feminine and not masculine. Accurate.
I just, so this guy's in our wheelhouse of what we do. He's a commentator. He talks about politics and culture. Of course, he has a different ideology than we do, but he's doing his part. I guess he's adding his 2 cents to the culture war. I think he's on the wrong side of the culture war, and I don't even know if his beliefs are sincere, which it seems like his fans are also calling out and saying, hey, are your beliefs sincere? I thought you were socialist. You just bought a $3 million mansion.
Are there any legitimate millionaire socialists? You just can't be.
You can't be. How is that possible?
Because even if they were started out as a socialist at one point, once they got that sweet, sweet money, the social views are gone. It's like Hillary Clinton. I can believe that she's super far left. In some regards, she still is, but I can believe definitely when she was younger. But clearly, her and Bill love money.
Yes.
They'll do anything for it.
Anything for money. So let's just peek in on what he does on his channel. Just a very quick look at this very popular socialist political commentator, YouTuber, Hasan Piker. And that's what he goes by on YouTube. And Hasan Piker. And this is him. This is only from 7 hours ago, talking about the debate. Almost 100,000 views. And his opinion. The title of the video was "The VP debate was so dumb." Let's look at what a hyper masculine socialist man looks like. Okay.
Prediction time. Are you guys ready? Tim Walz has been neutered. I think that Tim Walz is not going to have as strong of a showing as I suspect him to. Now, what do I mean by this? He came in and he came out. Okay, he popped off. He single-handedly brought forward an incredibly solid. He told Kamala he's a bad debater. Camp is leaking to the press that he's nervous.
So these are all clips, I guess, of him talking about how the debate is dumb.
Because his heart is in that. But when he's talking about allowing Israel to do a first strike on Iran, are you kidding me? That was the first question. What a morally bankrupt nation we are. That the first conversation when we have a goddamn apartheid state doing a genocide, opening up a new front, okay, potentially.
Okay. What's your take on him?
Like I said earlier, he's very dumb. I don't understand the appeal. I know he was a model, so I know he came from some money, but I generally just don't understand why kids are going to. And even we do talk about Gen Z being a lot of them being far left and all that stuff. But, as I was playing, I was thinking about one of the other links. You don't have to pull this up, but I pulled a link of compilations of various streamers saying the N-word, like gamer words. And I was thinking about how, on one hand, I'm a little annoyed because, I think we should just do away with that word. But if people are going to say it, then everybody either needs to be able to say it or no one can say it, instead of just saying, oh, only us blacks can say that. That's stupid. But on the other hand, I was like, I'm kind of glad that there are a bunch of Gen Zers who are politically incorrect, who are standing up to this extreme political correctness, even if they're going overboard or being offensive and extreme. I can appreciate that aspect of it. And so I don't know, maybe that gives me some hope compared to like the millions of people who are watching or subscribed to Hasan. I hope there's a larger amount of Gen Zers who are pushing back.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It took
Yeah.
me a while to understand where you were steering, which is that you think there's a lot of uncouth based or even actually racist, maybe some of them, Gen Z people who are opposed to the socialist worldview in Gen Z. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, some regard, some levels. So.
I know that I have heard this anecdotally from friends with younger, with teenagers, with people who are in Gen Z or Gen A, and they say that they use the word racist like it's a joke. Like they call everything, they're like, yo, that's racist about everything. Like, and that makes me laugh because that's my husband and I do that. We think that's fine. Because the point being that leftists call everything racist and young people have picked up on that, I think.
Well, I mean, a lot of them are teenagers and they want to feel the need to rebel. And so you're going to rebel against the orthodox, which is extremely politically correct and telling white people that only they can be racist. So of course you're going to get pushback against that. So,
yeah. Well, my gut, just watching a little bit of him, just a couple of clips, is that I do not think he's sincere. I'm going to have to agree with the fans who are criticizing him for buying a $3 million home. There are so many people in the cultural commentary space now, in the political commentary space, which is great because you have a lot of options on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's sort of there's a lot of people who are just, I don't know why they do it. I guess it's fame, money, all that stuff, prestige, or for people to think they are very smart or something ego related. And some of those people might start out with good intentions, and then if they gain popularity, those intentions get perverted, and the bad intentions, or the ones that are not as pure, become prioritized. I think that happens, but then I think there are some who just go into it with bad intentions from the start, almost like how we saw with Mr. Beast. He was like, what can I do to get famous? Let me try all these different kinds of YouTube videos until something works. And I think some people they try like, okay, I'm going to do commentary. Let me try commentary. I know this when I worked in management. I had a comedian, one of the comedians I worked with, several of them did podcasts, but there was one who came to me one day and said, I want to do a podcast so I can get famous. And he wasn't really interested in podcasting like the other clients I worked with. He just was like he was always trying on something new. Like, let me try this thing. Let me try this thing. But the real goal was fame. That was at the top of the pyramid more than anything else, more than making people laugh, more than making himself happy. I guess he thought he would be happy if he became famous. And so I get that impression. Long story short, I don't read authenticity off that guy. I don't know if he originally was authentic, but just watching the short, he looks bored. He looks disengaged, and he certainly doesn't believe in what he's talking about, because he's very happy to be successful and make money as a socialist, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to keep the fruits of his labor, right? I don't know. On Livian, who's one of our resident Gen Z folks hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for being here and translating. On Livian says, what an odd world we live in, that Christianity is now counterculture. Isn't that the truth? It is. It's punk, which I think makes it cool, and it makes it cool again. So that's kind of good, ADL 1992 for $1.99. Thanks for the super chat for supporting the program. Says this region seems to be an exception. I think this came in when we were talking about. All the mobs and the who were going after the IRL streamers. So I wonder what region you're in. And then also Savior Heart. What a great name for $5 Australian says, "G'day, Chris used to be my favorite of the Mr. Beast crew, but now I'm enraged at what he's done, all for the sake of, quote, my feelings. UWU. Do you know what UWU means?"
No, I'm old.
I know. I had to look this up when I was researching something. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Gen Z, UWU is, I think it comes from Japan, and it's like what a cute anime girl says, like, ew.
Is that it?
Oh. I think so.
I'm trying to decipher. Oh my gosh.
All these, oh, I don't know how to pronounce it though, but I think I got it right. Livian says it's pronounced uwu. Is it uwu? Lily of the Fox Valley, wasn't Hasan Piker the one who cried about how hard of a job it was to be a streamer? What? Did you find that?
No, I didn't look much into Hasan. I couldn't take that. Like enough. I just couldn't watch anymore. You think he's better than Vosh?
I don't even watch a lot of Vosh. I have no idea. He's also a leftist streamer. He's got quite a reputation. He believes in doesn't he believe in getting rid of the age of consent?
I wouldn't be surprised. What are you looking at?
Hold on. I think I found the video of Hasan. Here it is. Hold on. This is Hasan Piker saying that being a streamer is very hard and that it's harder than having a quote real job. Can I just show this real quick?
It's not like I could stop you, Keri.
You could throw down your throw down your veto card. I'll give you a veto card. Okay. This is real quick. I didn't know about this.
A real job doesn't suck the soul out of you in the same way that 9 hours of streaming absolutely will. With the community all around.
Then stop streaming for 9 hours, dude. Oh my gosh. Is it the worst thing in the world to, if you enjoy streaming and you feel like you have a purpose doing it, is it the worst thing in the world to get gig jobs outside of that so you don't have to be online 9 hours? I mean, give me a break. I have a real life. You have a real life. You work a real job. I work gig jobs. I don't work a 9 to 5, but I've got gig jobs. I mean, that's where most of my money comes from. I don't know. This is so hard. You don't understand my life.
Can't afford chicken nuggets.
Whiny. And think about, I don't know, I've worked in the service industry. Exactly. He's probably never worked in the service industry. Has he ever held a job? Probably not. Which is, I think, true of a lot of socialists. Isn't it? Funny enough.
Not surprising. No experience in the private sector.
Yeah. Okay, sir. I know there's a lot we didn't cover, but should we hit some personal favorites at the end?
You don't have to. I just put those there as maybe, but can we just really briefly show a little bit from the video game stuff?
Yeah, what do you want to show?
Show the that first link and mute it because it has music in it. But I just want to show this as an example of just how popular video games have become. I don't know if you're aware, but they have numerous tournaments for video games where it's so popular that they rent out entire stadiums, and the stadiums are packed.
But at least people are there to see the best video game players, right? It's about the skill level, right?
I don't know. I assume. All right, mute it, please.
Oh, mute it. Okay. It's like a football stadium?
Yeah. This is, I don't know what country this is, probably soccer, but. And they have like these musical acts that have all these crazy dances and pyrotechnics. Here's just weird 3D projections.
Are these
reals? There's the real ones.
There's real people and there's 3D.
Yeah.
Way. The future's going to be crazy.
I know. It's
going to be insane. I mean, imagine when people look back at this and they say this looks old. Do you know what I mean? Like this is outdated. I felt that way when our friend's 19-year-old came and visited us from Germany. So he's what would he be? Gen Z or Gen A? Anyway, I have an old Xbox 360, and he was looking through all my old video, and he was like, "These are so old." He was intrigued, and I don't think of them as old. And we played some of my games, and he was like, "How do you even play this? The optics are crazy. This is awful."
Like I if they play like some old games here, like part of me would be like, okay, I might see that for the experience. What do you play, like Paperboy or Metroid or like something really old?
So this is almost like the Super Bowl, right? Where
Yeah.
where they have entertainment before the game or during the middle of the game. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got this entertainment happening, and then at some point on the big screen, you're going to watch these competitors play video games.
Yeah, I think that's in the other link I put there.
Okay, we have to see just a quick clip of that.
And how good of a view is? I guess they are pretty big screens, but still, do you really want to be in a stadium watching a screen? It's just,
I guess so.
You just be at home or a bar across the street. Yeah, this next one, I think it's also for League of Legends, which I've never played, but apparently it's popular.
So this is footage from one of these huge gaming championships in a stadium, and they've got all the players there. Okay. I mean, it's just wild to me because you're watching them play something that they're playing online. They could play remotely, but let's go to a stadium. It's almost you're trying to recreate what we liked about going to football games, like and going and watching something happen physically in the real world in front of you. And they're trying to capture that. Like we're all going to this real world place, but instead of watching something happening physically, we're going to watch this online game. It's a little strange, right?
And you know they got to have some hot groupies. No, they don't. No, no groupies. But the thing is, some of them can make up to 6 figures because they get all sorts of endorsements. It's like entire careers just playing video games.
So my fear is this, that young people, and I think this is already happening. I mean, some of these people we covered tonight, they started streaming like the first one we covered. What was he, 11 when he started his YouTube channel? And so the thing is, there's a lot of kids who don't have good supervision at home. I don't think they have a parental influence that cares about protecting them from the things that they're going to encounter online. And I worry about every kid. You know, when we were young, every kid was looking at like Michael Jordan, or they were looking at famous pop stars, and they were saying, I want to be that. You know, the fantasies of like, I want to be a famous basketball player, or I want to be a famous musician, or whatever. But now kids are just going like, if I can just play video games and be violent and say the N-word enough, I too can have this level of fame, and just sort of that's it. That's what you're aspiring to. So, because I'm not saying nobody can make it. Clearly, kids are making it, but how many kids are trying to make it and starting channels when they're young and spending all their time or taking a video camera with them everywhere they go and barking at people or doing whatever crazy stuff they're doing to try to get attention? It's just the incentives are weird. I don't know if they're healthy.
There needs to be a Hoop Dreams type documentary for gamers, just following who want to aspire to be the professional gamer.
Yeah, this is wild. Okay,
yeah, but you don't show anymore. But yeah,
wow. Well, thank you for introducing me to this rabbit hole and to some of these people that I never want to see again. I really don't.
It's just gonna get crazier. Like I said, I can't stop watching the iShowSpeed stuff when he goes to other countries. It's just I don't understand it at all. I just don't, and that's why I keep coming back, hoping one day it'll make sense. But it's not gonna.
I don't know how much more we can devolve culturally in terms of what we're viewing as entertainment. This is, of course, we're looking at some of the worst, I think, iShowSpeed being one, in terms of being void of anything of value, really. There's also great things. I don't, we're not, I always, sometimes in my head, I can hear what criticism people say, like, oh, but there's also good things. Yes, there are. And I know Gen Z has actual musicians, like talented musicians and athletes and all of that. We're just kind of looking at some of the pop culture trends that are weird to us, people who are in older generations.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. It's just like music. We did a music show a while back. We talked about how pop music as a whole isn't very good in our opinion, but we acknowledge that there's a lot of great stuff that just isn't quote unquote mainstream. And so I think with other things, forms of entertainment, there are some great stuff that's being produced out there. It may not be as popular as Mr. Beast, or which bad example, might not be as popular as iShowSpeed or Kaisanat and some of these other ones that don't have, in our opinion, a lot of entertainment value. But still, I just overall, I'm not sure where you can go with this culture, as you were saying earlier. Like, I think a lot of us just kind of lament the not only having a lot of the properties that we grew up with suck now, but even if they're good, I just don't think a lot of them would have the same appeal to the younger audience. And I think deep down, a lot of us are lamenting that, because I think a lot of us know deep down, like, even if Star Trek was good, I still don't think it would be anywhere close as popular as it was in, say, the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. They don't have, for one thing, the attention span's not the same. We've talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true for everyone, regardless of what generation you're in, but especially for Gen Z and Gen A, they have very short attention spans. And I showed my friend's kids Pee Wee Herman once, and I thought they're going to love this. It's campy. It's over the top. It's, they're just so bored.
Yeah.
It just wasn't what they're used to. There were no fast, quick cuts and lots of graphics on the screen. It was not slot machine ready. Danielle, thank you for responding, because we were asking people to explain watching gaming streamers, and she says, I like watching one gamer that streams new Switch games. She's very cheery and bubbly, and I enjoy watching her. That makes sense. I do kind of get it. It just doesn't happen to be the thing I watch a lot, but it's almost, I have my favorite true crime streamers, and I like them for their personality and the way they tell the story, and they're good storytellers and putting all the pieces together. And so I get that if you're watching someone who's streaming a game and they're a good storyteller, or they're funny, or they're entertaining in some way, I understand that.
Real quick, can you just pull up the Colin First link? Don't show any videos. We're about out of time, but I just wanted to show his YouTube channel, because this is one of the ones I put in my personal favorite list. So this one's kind of similar to like a Mark Rover, but his projects are even of a larger scale, and he does a lot of stuff with like Star Wars builds. So he built a life-size TIE fighter and a life-size land speeder from Star Wars, a almost life-size AT-AT from Star Wars. He just does these crazy things on scales that is just hard to believe just some guy could do in his backyard. It's crazy. But just type in, go to the search thing and just type in Star Wars. See what, well, maybe it'll come up if you type in Star Wars. Oh, sorry.
Wait, Star Wars on his channel?
Yeah, in his channel, sorry. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Just in that little magnifying icon. Did you see that?
Oh.
So you pull his page back up.
Yeah.
It's at the end where it has like live videos, all that at the very end.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't even know this existed.
Really?
No, I just I always search YouTube, like the top search bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it might come up Star Wars if you put Star Wars in the title, but I'm sure there's gotta be some keywords in the description. I'll pull it up.
Is it this one? Oh, you can't see it. Hold on.
And there's several of them. Let's see which one this one is. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, look at all those things he built. He built that for his son. You can go inside the AT-AT, and then he built the land speeder, which was actually has, I think it has like I don't want to say a jet engine, but something very powerful, some kind of engine.
Oh, wow. This is very cool. I mean, it's engineering.
Yeah.
It's construction. It's mathematics. I mean, it's everything. Learning how to
Imagine,
do
like,
it.
knowing the kid on the block who had this. Be the
He
coolest
built
kid
these for his son?
Yeah. What's he
How
gonna do when his son, like, grows too old? Or
cute.
maybe his son won't grow up too old, like, he'll be, like, 40 and still wanna
He's
play in
gonna
that
sell
thing.
it to a collector probably. How cool. You'll be bidding on it. That's pretty cool. Oh, look at his kid.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
You gotta have a
Okay.
lot of confidence in your, construction skills to
See,
let your
this
kids play in that.
is skill. I like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a point and oh, look at these kids. How cute. Okay. I like that a lot. It reminds me of except on a much larger scale. One of my old friends, when I lived in LA, he's a toy maker and he worked for a lot of different places, but eventually Mattel, and he was just a brilliant toy maker, and that's exactly where he should be working. But he had an esoteric knowledge, almost like you. He was an encyclopedia of knowledge about certain pop culture things, and he had a toy collection that made the 40-year-old virgin look stupid. Like when I saw that movie, I'm like, that's not what a collector's, because I had seen my friend's house, and my friend's house is seriously every room is bookshelves, and every bookshelf on every shelf of the bookshelf is like 4 action figures deep. And imagine a whole apartment like that. And it just, I don't even know how many thousands and thousands and thousands of comic books. Anyway, the point being, he was a big fan, and then he was working in it as well. And he could recall certain things like, oh, we might be able to save money on the Black Widow's costume if we did her boot like the version from such and such comic. Like he had this encyclopedic knowledge of different comics where he could do design and as a fan do them accurate, and say, we can make the belt this way from this comic, and then we can save money, whatever. And he, in his spare time when he wasn't making toys for a living, he built Legos, and he would do these huge Lego. Now I thought they were big, nothing like that, but he would just make them himself. All the Batmobiles, every different one, just crazy Godzilla stuff like that, and he would create it himself, like not on a pattern. He would figure out how to do it, and I thought that was very impressive. That was a long story to say. That was very impressive. But then looking at this guy, he's like, I'm going to make the biggest model possible where you can actually get inside of it.
It's crazy.
It's impressive. Pretty cool. Unlivian says, I would never grow out of this. Oh, yeah. You'd never sell that, would you?
You just live in it. Be a little tiny apartment. That'd be kind of cool living in AT-AT.
You could rent it out. You could put that on Airbnb and make a lot of money.
Yeah. A lot of people are going to do it in there. Like,
oh, gross. No, never mind. Jamie. Hey, Jamie. For $2 says, hey, Keri and MC, always enjoy Pop Culture Wednesdays. Yay. Well, we're back.
Well, thank you.
We're just having a bit of fun every 2 weeks, every other week. I really missed you, Mystery Chris, and I'm excited to be back doing these and having a bit of levity on the internet.
Yeah, it was fun, as always.
Fun and interesting and sometimes alarming.
You're really going to think about it. I know you're going to think like as you're laying in bed trying to go to sleep tonight. Replays of iShowSpeed in your head.
And what about when these young people have kids? Because they think this is normal, like chasing iShowSpeed around.
Yeah.
And so what about when they have kids? What's that disconnect going to be?
Well, I've always said how weird it would be, or is going to be, and probably already is, where a lot of people who have kids are posting photos of their kid on Facebook. And then eventually that kid's going to get Facebook or whatever social media platform is dominant at the time and start posting pictures of them, their lives. And so their entire life is going to be chronicled on the internet.
Yeah.
That's just weird to me.
Yeah, it is.
But it will be easy to do genealogy in the future. You want to like look up what your grandfather is doing, see him get drunk on 6th Street in the 2000s.
You know, it's weird. You're a much more private person than I am online. obviously you still use an avatar and you have a pseudonym for our shows. I used to be very private online as well. And what happened in my case is once I got, once I left the woke cult and I started losing all my friends, the great unfriending happened. And some of my former woke friends were calling me out publicly. And I just started an open book kind of policy where I wanted to meet new people and I wanted to meet people who were interested in disagreeing and having conversations. And I wanted to meet people who were leaving the left like me. And so I made during the middle of being piled on by some of my former friends, I made my profile public. And I started, whenever I'd see somebody interesting or something, that's how I met a lot of people, was people who said interesting stuff. I joined a lot of interesting groups, like the Jordan Peterson discussion group was an early one. And so I just started meeting people that way. And a lot of my best friends now I met online. And I met you in a roundabout way by hosting a meetup, And so the point being, I have thought about, I know what you're talking about, where at a certain point I also share parts of myself, because my goal is to get more people to wake up and to leave the left. And I feel like I need to have my face and my name on that and not be afraid of it. That's for me. I'm not saying that's for everyone. And also to show people that it's like, I'm a normal person. I'm not like a lot of people on the left. Seriously, people who are in my old cult, they just, they have this stereotype of everyone who's not woke and how you're just this crazy bigot, and they don't it doesn't have any connection to reality. And so I do share other things that I'm excited about that I used to share when my profile was locked down with my friends, with my real friends, like pictures of things I'm excited about, or like right now, like my doggy or my house or whatever, things that make me happy, so that it's not just criticizing ideology all the time, but it's also like I said, I have a real life. It's not just a one-track mind. All this to say, I have thought about, like, if we're able to have a kid, they don't consent to having their face out there. You know what I mean? Like Tiger doesn't get a say because he's a dog.
He's not capable of hiring a lawyer. So.
Tiger's not capable of hiring a doggy attorney. What's he gonna pay? I don't give him enough treats to pay for that. So, he doesn't have a choice. But I don't think I've gone back and forth on it. I don't think I would show my child's face online.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Like,
I understand like wanting to share that with family and stuff, but I would find like more private ways to do that and not put it like in your entire Facebook where, hundreds of people or thousands of people could see it.
Because they don't really, and I don't want anyone to feel like I'm judging you if you do share it. And I know, I'm sure there are people in the chat who have shared photos and videos of, I have friends who, and I love seeing the pictures of your kids. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love it. It makes me happy. It's like positive stuff on your social media feed. I love it. I'm just saying, I personally keep going back and forth. I can't tell you what to do, and I don't want to, but I keep going back and forth, and I think I would not, because I keep saying, what if my parents had done that with all of my pictures and stuff? And I think I'd be a little bit like, how dare you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Watch this come back and bite me in the butt if I.
Can you one more? I know we're out of time, but can you pull up the last link, and don't show any of this, but I just want to pull this up because I was thinking about what was the equivalent of IRL streaming in pre internet streaming times, and the closest thing I can think of was this. And so people might remember this show.
What do you mean? Don't show it?
You can show, like, don't play it. I mean, you can play some of it if you want, but pull up the link.
What? Wait, I am playing it, but I'm muting it.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't have to mute it, but I was saying you don't have to show it. It's not like it's copyright, or it won't get a copyright strike for this.
So Dave Attell, that's what you're saying.
Dave Attell, but yeah, he did a show called Insomniac where he would go to various cities at night or early in the morning and just talk to random people there. And this one, is the one he did in Austin. So I thought if people wanted to see a glimpse of what Austin was like in 2001, this would be an interesting video. Check out. I think most of the episodes are on YouTube. Someone put them up uncensored.
Wow.
But yeah, I just wanted to show that.
Thank you. Were you a fan? Did you watch a lot?
Yeah. Yeah. Taylor Tell's funny.
I would only
kind of a degenerate, but he's funny.
You're a degenerate. I don't know about that. I wouldn't put you in that category.
No, I said he was.
Oh, he was. I see.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Keri.
I missed you.
Glad you didn't agree with that. Like, yeah, you are pretty degenerate. Like, what, Keri?
I thought it was weird. You were saying you were. I was like, no, you're not. You're like one of the least degenerate people I've ever met. You're very, you know that, very good head on your shoulders.
Did you know that I am pure evil, Keri?
Yeah, people call you that. Did you vote for Trump? Oh no.
Oh yeah. Want to do it again? Yes, sir.
Did you betray your own race? Oh, I betrayed my gender.
Hey, I hope you're happy. I went out to happy hour with some coworkers, and I didn't say anything offensive. I was drinking. It was very hard not to, Keri.
Were they all saying, "Oh"? I was going to ask you if you could share the story that you shared with me, but you may not want to. The funny story about your dating experience, or no?
Oh, next episode. Let's tease that.
Okay, we'll save it. You guys tune in 2 weeks from tonight, Wednesday night, 8:00 Central. Mystery Chris is going to share a really funny non-PC dating experience that cracked me up. I love it. Thank you so much for tonight. Thanks for very excited that you're back. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. If you guys like the video, please hit like. It helps our channel grow. And also leave a comment if you have something you want to add or something you think we should check out for a future episode. If you have any criticisms or compliments, feel free to leave them below. And I feel like I wish we should bark like dogs on the way out. Young people like the barking like the dogs.
He also has another catchphrase, "Suey," and he does a little move. You'll have to look it up. Gosh. And everyone goes, "Suey,
suey."
Yeah,
okay.
I don't understand anything anymore.
I don't either. Okay, we're gonna go out with the right outro music. Here we go. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Had a good time.
Bye, y'all.